Alright, so what I have here is a website that was provided by Frontend Mentor. So basically they provide the design and you have to create a responsive website. So this project was actually a noob project and it has to be a responsive site. It's a really basic site, something that you can make with just pure HTML and CSS. So first, I would like to acknowledge. I would like to point out that currently, as I'm recording this video, I do not have electricity. Therefore, I do not have access to the internet. So you will see that the font is not actually the font because the font that I loaded in was provided by Google Fonts. I imported it directly from Google Fonts. And then another thing you'll notice is that these circles are empty, but inside these circles are supposed to be social icons like Twitter and just social icons. So just bear that in mind. So now let's get into the code and how it was actually made. Okay, so hold on. So basically we were given a style guide. We were provided with a style guide from Frontend Mentor. Here it is. And then they basically specify the layouts, the different colors, the primary colors, secondary colors, neutral colors. And then they also have typography. So basically font sizes, the typeface that the website uses. And they provided a link to Font Awesome for the fonts. So when setting up the project, I didn't really feel it was necessary to set up a separate CSS file just for headings and stylings like that. So I just basically put all the stylings right in here. As you can see, as I scroll down, the CSS is actually inside the HTML file. So, hold on, let me increase the font actually. Okay, 12. Let's increase that to like 18 pixels. Make it viewable. Okay, no, it's big enough. Okay, that seems a little excessive. Okay, I guess this is better. So within the head, let me just break it apart. This is the body. So this is the head, right? The link and the styles. So inside the head, this is basically just defaults, especially if you like put a shebang, it's like this, and then you just get the boilerplate. It comes with all of that. It comes with different meta stuff. So this is basically just boilerplate. So now let's get to the interesting stuff. Here we have a link. The link basically links it is displayed in, I would say, the head of the tab. I forgot what it's called, but then it basically takes this favicon PNG file and then displays it. Hold on. Yeah, this is the image that we received. So this link right here just basically places that image right there, right next to the title of the page. So that's fine. And then we have the title, which obvious. Here, let's cover the CDN. For Font Awesome, I just used the CDN. I imported the minified CSS. I just thought that was simpler, so I just used that. Now, this is where I imported the font, the typeface, Frank Libre from Google Fonts. I prefer using import statements in CSS because I just feel like typography is more of a style thing, so it should be within a styles page. But that's my opinion. It works out the same at the end of the day. So let's talk about implementing the design system, right? Let me save that. So in the style guide, we were provided with different colors, the typography, and the layout. So the first thing that I actually did was implement that in the CSS. So I use the roots, and then these are basically, so I like to think of these like what's called SAS. You just save them in variables. I just find it very interesting that you can do it in CSS. I think it was my first time or third time doing it in CSS. I was actually just used to SAS, but it was quite interesting. So for the typeface, I saved it as typeface, and then here are the colors with comments to show whether it's primary, secondary, or neutral. And then for the layout, I actually saved the max width. Oh yeah, the border radius, I wanted to have a consistent border radius across different elements, so I just saved it right there. And then we have an input padding and a transition time. So the transition time is basically for animations. I just wanted all elements to have somewhat of the same transition time. And now we go into start. So this is still the setup, and basically almost all elements come with a default, unless you do this. All elements come with a default padding, margin, and box sizing. So I personally just like to set it all to 0, the padding to 0, margin to 0, and I prefer working with a border box for box sizing. It's a personal preference. I really enjoy it, right? Now, let's just cover a few more things. So here in the font family, that's where I use the typeface. Now, this typeface is all the way from the root right there. It was quite interesting, actually. So for setting up the project, that was actually more than enough just to get things started. So down here, this was a new project after all. Down here in the body, that's where I put everything. So let's just have a rough overview. Here's where the image is, and the source is the logo, SVG. For Lighthouse performance, I think it would be necessary to add like a width and a height just to make it better. I think that affects Lighthouse performance basically, and I think it can also affect SEO. So I think I'll have to change that in the near future. Here we have H1. So I tried to use Semantic HTML. I think I did this quite a while ago, actually. I think 1 year ago, 2 years ago, I forgot. But I tried to use Semantic HTML. But I was at that point, I was still hazy on what Semantic HTML was. So that was fine. So that's basically the logo, the H1, the heading, and then we have a P tag. So it's just all of this right here, from the image, the logo, all the way to subscribe and get notified. So for the form, I just put in, well, there is no action because there is no backend. It's not like we were provided with a backend. It was purely a front end. So for the form, right here, we just have an input box. So it seems strange to wrap an input within a div, but just bear with me here, right? So basically this, can you see? This input was basically wrapped around this div element. So here we have input box. Oh, yes. I was wondering, why did I do this? I was questioning myself. But I think based on memory is that input is usually an inline. It's like inline, whereas if you wrap it within a div, no. That's not the explanation. That's wrong. I remember why I was questioning myself why I put this, but I remember now. It's because of this error. So basically there was some damn, there was some validation. So as you can see here, please provide a valid email address. And then let's go up top here. I remember there was an email address input. Where's input? Let me just control F colon valid. Hold on. Valid. What is it again? Wait. Let's do this input. Okay. Oof. 1 of 29. Let me just put a colon. Yeah, that made it better. Hey. Yeah, that made it better. So here, there's an input section. Where's the invalid? Yes, here it is. So the input section, input colon valid. That would make the border invalid. So let's just, can you see that? It's an invalid email. So that's why it's red. Not only that, the reason why I actually had it in a div is because, I remember, wait, where is it? Placeholder shown. Okay, yeah, border color. But then I remember, hold on. Oh yes, the input invalid, right? And then you say right next to an invalid input where we have a class input error. So let's try to show you the input error right in the HTML right there. Can you see the P tag? Basically, the error message has class input error. That is why, man, I was questioning myself why I did that. But yes, I finally found out why. I mean, it was a year ago. But here, we said, no, that's border color. We made it a block. Now, initially, this is display hidden. But when we have an invalid email, we want to make the input error display block. That's why it was in a div. I was questioning myself. Okay, let's go down. That takes care of the form. So usually with a form, there's like an action right there, and then basically it's like connecting it to a backend. Maybe you connect it to a backend API, but this was a really bare bones noob type of project. This is an image. Obviously, with the knowledge I know now, would have to do width and height, just to increase the SEO performance, lighthouse performance, but that's cool. And here in the social icons, this for brands, for Facebook F, this is basically this is how we use the icons from Font Awesome, because Font Awesome basically just provides a bunch of icons, and the way you want to display those icons is by using the classes that they provide. Now, for the eye, it's not really necessary, but it's just standard. I remember I was learning Font Awesome a few years back, and I was questioning why we had to use the eye, but it's just standard. It's just standard. At this point, it's just standard. You just go with it. And then for the footer, basically, this was all provided by Frontend Mentor. This project overall was a really bare bones, simple project. That's all it was. Let me put a valid email. naruto@konoha.com. Okay, that's a valid email. Now, obviously, if the user presses notify me, it would send a request all the way to the back end. Boom, 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 boom. But this was overall, this was a really nice project. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed this project. It was simple. It was just a fun exercise. Let me show you the responsiveness actually, because that's an important thing. Hold on. So now, obviously, this would be desktop, but then as the width of the screen shrinks, now, I remember this. I remember when I did this. It was so as the screen shrinks, can you see that? We will always maintain a padding. This is so important to me because I do not like elements that touch the edge of the screen. it grinds my teeth. It's okay, but that's a personal opinion. That is a personal opinion. People do things differently. Let's keep that in mind. Okay. But look at this. Man, the designs from Frontend Mentor are really good. And then right here, can you see that? Oh, man, I remember. I just love responsive websites. Now, the email, the input basically is now like vertically aligned with the button notify me. So how do we do that? That was really simple. Hold on. Let's just say media. I don't want to scroll and scroll. So here we use media screen and max width 500 pixels. So basically this was just, let me write down a comment for mobile view. I hope that makes things clear. All of this basically applies with where the screen is between 0 pixels and 500. So let me put 500 right there. Let's see. Can you see it's 500 pixels? The width of the screen is 500 pixels, and it's all a column. Can you see that? Flex direction column. And then yeah, we just added a few details right there, right? But basically this is only applied when the screen width is less than 500 the width of the screen is less than 500 pixels. But as soon as it goes above 500 pixels, boom. Man, I love responsive websites, man. I remember back then these types of things used to stress me, but now I just do these things casually. But this was a really fun project. It was a really fun project. Did I actually upload this to GitHub? Hold on, let me check. Let me just check something. Well, of course we'll have to wait for VS. Okay, yeah. So let me just check something. Get status on the main. Oh, okay. So I must have uploaded this to GitHub. Oh, yeah, that makes sense because I used GitHub Pages to host the website. But this was a fun project. I thought it was a simple project that I could just show people. Something I just found really interesting and something I actually enjoyed. I think I should come up with, well, I'm going to display more videos. So my plan is obviously, man, I don't know why I'm discussing this now, but my plan was to actually make a playlist of all the Frontend Mentor projects I have made. I wanted to I'm going to discuss this in another video, of course, but I actually wanted to make a playlist of different Frontend Mentor projects I've made. And I also wanted to, within that playlist, I wanted to show different technologies that I have used. So the different technologies, as time progressed, I started using Tailwind. Oh, Tailwind. That's a topic for another day. It's amazing. Then I also bumped into Gatsby.js, which I really, really enjoy. Well, of course, the GraphQL was a bit of a challenge, especially when you start learning it. But Gatsby overall, it's a great development experience in my opinion. And then Next.js, it's great. Don't get me wrong. It's just there are times when we clash, but it's overall all those technologies are great, and I really wanted to display them in future. But that's it for the video. It was just a quick presentation. This is OBS, but that's not part of the video. Anyway, cheers. Bye bye.